Hey, what's up, Knotty community? Welcome back to My Knotty Hobby with Amber for another easy to follow crochet tutorial. Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to create the wave stitch. This is what I'm calling the Pacific Waves. You know, this is a whole blanket that I'm making, but I'm going to show you the stitch sequence, much smaller than this. We're just going to be doing 2 sequences of this wave stitch for you to incorporate into whichever kind of design that you're working up. Today I'm going to be using a 4mm or a G hook and some number 3 light just acrylic fiber. This is the Kobo Lion brand Kobo, which is really nice to work with, but can sometimes have some issues with splitting. You can use any size hook and fiber that you have available to you to create the same look. If you use a larger hook and yarn, it will obviously come out larger, and same with the smaller hook, smaller yarn, it'll be smaller. Let's go ahead and jump right into this though. So in order for the waves pattern to work up correctly, we're going to be working in multiples of 14 plus 1 extra stitch. So if you're working chainless foundation stitches, you would just do that, you know, the multiple of 14 plus the 1 extra. But because we're starting with a chain, we're going to put 1 extra chain stitch that will not count as our first stitch. It'll just count as the turn. So let's go ahead and chain up 30. We're going to start with a slip knot. And this would be the perfect size for like a little coaster, or you could probably even make this into a scarf or a little washcloth if you're using cotton fiber. Try not to work your chains too tight because we will be working into the back bumps of our stitches or of this chain. So I've got 5 on there. There's 10. $20. There's our 28, 29 for that extra stitch, and 30 for our turn chain. Now working into this first back bump that we see here, well, second back bump, the other one's hidden by my working yarn there, we're going to place a single crochet. So we already have a loop on our hook. You're going to insert your hook under that back bump, drop a loop, yarn over, and pull through both loops. We're going to work a single crochet into the next back bump. Now we'll work a half double crochet into the next 2. You complete a half double by yarning over, inserting your hook into that back bump and drawing up a loop. Yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook. Now we're going to work a double crochet into the next 2. You'll yarn over, insert your hook, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through remaining 2. Work a treble stitch into our next 3 back bumps. So you'll yarn over twice, insert your hook, trying to get under all of my loops there, and drop a loop. You'll have 4 on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through remaining 2 loops. We're going to do that 2 more times. Work a double crochet into the next 2 back bumps. Work a half double crochet into the next 2 back bumps. Now we're going to work 3 single crochets, 1 into the next 3 back bumps. Work a half double crochet into the next 2. Work a double crochet into the next 2. One, 2, 3, 1, 2, okay. So that's supposed to be a double. Just trying to see here. 2, 2, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're working doubles now. Now we're going to continue that pattern where we work a treble into our next 3. We've got, excuse me, 1 more before starting our final descend. We're going to work double crochet into the next 2. Two half doubles, and a single crochet into our last back bumps. Just 1 more. We're going to chain 1 and turn our work. Your first row should look like this. So we chained 1, turn your work, and into the very first stitch here, don't get confused with our chain 1, which is right there. Into this space here, going under both loops, we're going to single crochet. Now working just the back loops only to our last stitch, we're going to place a single crochet into each, but our last stitch we're going to work under both of the loops. And I like to work the first and last stitch under both of the loops because I feel like it gives my piece a little bit more stability. So if you don't want to change the pattern up and want to go through that back loop, that's a total personal preference there. I was live yesterday to show how to do this pattern and Facebook kept kicking me off, but I was saying during that tutorial how I control my tension by holding my piece in my right hand and pulling out a little bit, because when you hold on to it, see here with these fingers, and I pull, it just makes those stitches a little bit easier to access. I get a lot of questions about tension, and really it's about practicing, because it's something you learn through feel. The more you do it, the better you will get. So coming up to our last couple stitches here, into our very last stitch, which is this one, just looks a little hidden. We're going to go under both loops and drop a loop. We won't finish with this color though. We're going to bring on our second color, which I'm going to use white. I'm not going to cut my main color because we're going to be using this first color in between each of our color changes. So I just put a loop onto my hook. Some people like to do a slip knot. I'm just going to do just a loop. We're not going to do any chains. We're going to go ahead and turn our work. Now, when working up this pattern specifically, a little hack that I learned is, so when we go to our, not the main color, but the second color, everywhere that there were single crochets in that very first row will now be treble crochets, and same with wherever we have these trebles will now be single crochets. That's really the only thing that's going to change from that first, I guess, pattern, because, you know, the second row, we just worked single crochets. We're going to work a standing double crochet into our very first stitch, which is here. So insert your hook and drop a loop. And I said a standing double crochet, we're actually doing a standing treble crochet. So essentially here we're just creating a single crochet, yarn over and pull through both. Then you're going to insert your hook into the leg of that stitch you just created and drop a loop. Yarn over and pull through both. Insert your hook into the leg of that stitch you just created, drop a loop, yarn over and pull through remaining 2. You just completed a standing treble crochet. And this just helps you keep a straight edge, which is why I prefer using a standing stitch instead of chains. Now we're going to yarn over twice and go back to those unworked loops from our last row. And that's where we're going to be placing all of our stitches with the exception of our first and our last. So we'll insert our hook and drop a loop, yarn over and pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through remaining 2. We're going to follow the pattern that we did on that row as well. So now we're going down with it. So we'll work a double crochet into the next 2 stitches. We're going to work a half double crochet into the next 2 stitches. Oops. And then work a single crochet into the next 3. Half double crochet into the next 2, double crochet into the next 2, and by working those unworked loops, we're creating this really nice ledge or ridge with our work. Now we're going to work a treble over the next 3 stitches. Now we'll work a double into the next 2, half double into the next 2, a single into the next 3. Oops. Come on, Luke. Half double into the next 2, a double into the next 2, treble into the next, and then going under both loops, we're going to treble into our very last stitch. Chain 1 and turn your work. Now we're going to start back over from what we did in row 2. So you will single crochet into that first stitch using both of your loops, but then you're going to work single crochets into each of the back loops of this row. After every patterned row that you do, you will work a row of these single crochets into those back loops. I'll work one more of the pattern rows with you. Before ending the tutorial. And then our very last single crochet will go into the top of that standing treble that we made, going under both loops. Don't finish that stitch though. Now you can bring back on our main color. So I just pull a little bit up and then I hold that string so I don't pull it too tight. See how there's a little bit of give now, and it will stretch with the stitches. Make sure that when you're color carrying that it matches up pretty closely with that stitch and it's not pulled too tight, or it can cinch your work down. So always with your main color, when you bring on a new color, or excuse me, not when you bring on a new color, but when you're working with your main color, we'll always start with a chain 1 and turn our work. We're going to single crochet into our first stitch, and then again we're going to be working those unworked loops from our previous row. We're going to do another single crochet and then start our pattern of a half double crochet into the next 2, double crochet into the next 2, treble into the next 3, double into the next 2, half double into the next 2, so this one's my second, single crochet into the next 3, half double into the next 2, double into the next 2, treble into the next 3, double into the next 2, half double into the next two, and then a single crochet. And our final stitch will be a single crochet going under both loops before we start that solid row of single crochets. So that is how you create the wave stitch pattern. Again, once you get some rows into it, this is how it should be looking. Your reverse will be nice and flat, where the other side will be super texturized and just absolutely glorious. I had no intentions of starting another blanket. This one's about baby size, and I'm sure that there's going to be somebody in my life having a baby soon. I've got a cousin who is pregnant with their first, so maybe this one will go to her. I'm not really sure. But that's the tutorial I have for today. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. As always, I super appreciate you spending time over here at My Knotty Hobby. And I hope I'm able to catch up with you guys real soon. The live stream has changed again, and so I've got to fiddle around with that to get, to get my settings to where it's easy for you guys to watch. But I hope that you have an absolutely great week, and I'll chat with you guys all real soon. Happy hooking! Take care, guys.